Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. If measures being implemented by the Health Ministry are not adhered to, the likelihood of Jamaica getting over the COVID-19 pandemic anytime soon could get bleaker, with over 4,608 coronavirus cases by April 12. This following projections, which were revealed by the country's chief medical officer at the latest press briefing at Jamaica House yesterday. More in this report.
Since the country recorded its first case of the COVID-19, the government has sought to institute measures to limit physical contact between individuals as a measure to combat the spread of the coronavirus in a population of almost 3 million people. But despite that, physical distancing is not being adhered to by some. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa-McKenzie painted a grim picture for the island if the measures introduced by the government are not followed. She said if the authorities manage to keep cases doubling only every 8 days, there would be 126 cases by April 12 and 432 by April 26. Meanwhile, Dr. Bisesa-McKenzie stressed the importance of physical distancing. Based on the assumption that each person has the potential to infect 2.5 persons, Dr. Bisesa-McKenzie says coronavirus cases could quickly spike if Jamaicans do not maintain their distance.
If one person affects 2.5 persons and 2.5 persons each infect 2.5 more persons, over a 30-day period, what it is that we will see happening is that we would have 406 persons infected. Now that is a significant number of persons. If it is that we reduce the exposure by social distancing, and we reduce that social exposure by 75%. We have looked at the projections, and we see that by day 30, we would only have 2.5 persons infected. If it is that we reduce social exposure by 50%, then we would only have about 15 persons that are infected by that one person over a 30-day period.
However, she said the cases could double at a faster rate if Jamaicans do not heed the warnings.
If there are persons who have had contact with our 36 confirmed cases, if they do not stay at home, then our numbers will also rise. And we will move from a potential doubling every 8 days to possibly a doubling every 5 days, and worst case, where we could have a doubling every 2 days, resulting in a significant number of cases. According to the graph here, 4,608 possibly confirmed by the 12th of April, if it is that persons do not take their responsibilities seriously.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
One financial analyst is of the view that the daily curfew announced yesterday by Prime Minister Andrew Holness is the right move at this time to control the spread of the coronavirus. Financial analyst Dennis Chung contends that the time for a total lockdown has passed. He says the announced curfew, along with other restrictive measures, should effectively minimize the spread of the virus.
The right thing to do right now is, as the government has done, because we have lost the opportunity from day one, is to do a curfew at night and minimize the risk of the virus spreading more at night. And at night also is when people are going out. People are still here having gatherings and parties, and when people go out at night and drink alcohol, mix alcohol with the virus, and you see what happens. Also, although we have a nightly curfew, there's going to be enforcement against gatherings even during the day. So when you have the curfew along with all the other restrictions, you're minimizing the virus spreading even further.
Now, he says a total lockdown of the country at this time would result in significant economic fallout. The leaders of two critical sets of healthcare workers are bracing for challenges to come as it relates to the availability of personal protective equipment for their members on the front line dealing with COVID-19 cases. The Nurses Association of Jamaica and the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association are not yet satisfied with the current inventory, but are confident that what is available is being put to the best use. The update follows confirmation that a healthcare worker in Jamaica has tested positive for COVID-19. President of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, Dr. Elon Thompson, is anticipating shortages in the future, but believes the problem can be addressed. He was speaking yesterday on Radio Jamaica's Beyond the Headlines.
We have been having several meetings about inventory with regards to protective wear. This conversation about being comfortable, I don't think we'll ever get there. America, all the developed countries are uncomfortable with what they have. I don't think a developing country like Jamaica is ever going to be comfortable. What we can do is prepare as best as possible. And when we look back at this, we don't want to say we could have done better. So what we want to do is to just do our best in terms of preparation. So I think we're going to have shortfalls with when it comes to inventory in certain aspects. So what we want to do is when we look back, we say we have done the best that we could.
The political representative for Southeast Clarendon is moving to quell unrest in the area following questions from constituents about his plans for government-approved funds for the COVID-19 response. However, Colonel Charles Jr. is stressing the money has not yet been dispersed. He feels the questions about the sum are the result of political gamesmanship. More in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness during his budget presentation announced that the government would be allocating $126 million from the Constituency Development Fund to the 63 members of Parliament. Each MP would therefore receive $2 million for their pandemic response. But the planned spend is the source of contention in Southeast Clarendon. The constituency is the home of the only community under quarantine following the imposition of a lockdown on the Corn Peace settlement. But MP Colonel Charles Jr. does not believe the questions about the money are from disgruntled residents in the quarantine zone.
We're getting a lot of questions because there is information going around now where announcements are being made that this MP has received $3 million. And people are wondering, so if you receive $3 million, what are you doing with it? So we have to clarify and let it be clear that the government allocated $3 million, $2 million towards COVID and $1 million towards water, but it hasn't been received yet. It is money allocated that will be received in the new financial year. And so any announcement that $3 million was received and we want to know what's happening to it is adding to the mischief. I don't know if that's the objective, but inadvertently it is causing a lot of confusion for a lot of persons.
The MP has therefore called for persons with ulterior motives to stop spreading confusion about the COVID-19 money. And speaking of money, Mr. Charles Jr. had some good news for the residents, including farmers.
For instance, the bartenders, the bar and shop owners who are not opening, who have closed, who have no revenue coming in, who will need support for their families. And so we are trying to institute a program to provide support and also to utilize our farmers in the community who now have produce and may have surplus so that we provide support for them, a whole cycle of productivity. So we're going to be spending some of our money to ensure that the care packages include food from our farmers so that the farmers themselves will be able to get some revenue and they'll be able to take care of their families. And this is something which is needed not just for the crisis now, but something which we need to institute as a normal procedure.
The quarantine measure in Corn Peace started on March 20 and should last for 14 days. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
And we now take a break on the Midday News, but we'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back, continuing the news. The Transport Authority has implemented new measures to deal with the anticipated influx of persons seeking to renew road licenses at this time. The move follows a build-up of customers at its Maxfield Avenue office in St. Andrew on Monday, where the security forces had to be called in.
Monday, transport operators gathered at the Transport Authority's office in St. Andrew, seeking to renew their documents. One operator explained that he arrived to do his transaction at 7:30 that morning. But with COVID-19 concerns and social gathering restrictions now being enforced, only a few persons were allowed to enter the premises.
And we were told that only 16 people were allowed to enter, 10 doing renewals and 6 doing pickups. Subsequently, 16 people were let in, but then the crowd started forming by the gate. Around 200 people were here.
The customers we spoke with were upset as they believe the proper measures were not put in place to deal with the usual high numbers at this time of year.
Corona go on and them have this big line. Them a call number, them not have no steel line for call out the number where you can stay far around here. So if you bung up at the gate for here, your name calling, brother.
The government should make a regulation that when we come, you give us a ticket and give you a time. You give you a ticket, you say you come back 9 o'clock, you come back 10 minutes after 9, you come back 15 minutes after 9. That's where it's supposed to go.
The police came and told us to disperse. Many people didn't. And so one major police officer came up and he said that he will be calling the JDF to come and disperse the crowd. So said, so done.
However, while acknowledging that there was an issue at the office, General Operations Manager at the Transport Authority, Cecil Morgan, says it was all caused by the usual last-minute approach to paying fees. The licenses are to be renewed before the start of a new financial year on April 1, but the operators came on the last 2 days. Despite this, however, Mr. Morgan says in light of the restrictions relating to the COVID-19 pandemic, the authority has now implemented a 14-day grace period during which all licenses may be renewed without late fees. He says the police have also been advised not to seize vehicles for this period. A drop box facility has also been implemented for applications, receipts for payments, and the pickup of license within hours. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
A caution this afternoon for Jamaicans not to increase their consumption of alcoholic beverages during the COVID-19 outbreak. According to research analyst at the National Council for Drug Abuse, NCDA, Yuki Atkinson, both drinking and smoking can weaken the body. She believes the COVID-19 pandemic could cause additional stress on persons, which could lead to substance abuse or cause those seeking to break their substance use habit to relapse. While speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program this morning, Ms. Atkinson said since the COVID-19 outbreak, clients have been reaching out to the agency for help.
I mean, we have gotten calls from clients to say, look here, I don't know, the hopelessness, I just need to, I feel like I'm going to relapse. Because as we know, substance use disorder is a highly relapsable type of condition, you know, so in times of stress. So what we really want to tell the general public is to look out for those family members and friends who you know are more likely to, you know, go back into their own
what do you do
lifestyle.
with...
Executive Director of the NCDA, Michael Tucker, is cautioning against using alcoholic beverages as a stress reliever during this period of confinement.
In an environment like this, with all the fear factors, people are very stressed.
Anxiety.
People, so they're anxious, they're bored, their normal way of operating has been disrupted. And then you have often staying home, kids present, a number of other things, and trying to reorganize your life around that. And also, drinking at home, as opposed to social drinking where you may be out with friends and just having a drink, it's totally different. You tend to consume more.
Wayne Marshall's song, Overcome, there's a line in it that said, don't drown yourself in a smoke or rum. This is not the time to drown yourself in those things because it's not going to help you to handle the disease if you contract it.
All right, news from the region now. Bermuda has recorded a further 5 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, taking the island's total to 27. Tests showed that 3 of the new cases were imported, while 2 had close contact with a previously confirmed case. All of the imported cases arrived on British Airways flights from London's Gatwick Airport on March 13, 15 and 17. Premier David Burt told a news conference that of the island's 27 total cases, 2 remained in hospital in stable condition, 15 were mostly at home with mild symptoms, and 10 have fully recovered. 1 of the 27 is a police employee. He said there is still no confirmed cases of local community transmission of the virus in Bermuda. Still from the region, we go to Trinidad, where 2 more cases of COVID-19 were announced last night. The country's total now stands at 85, with 3 deaths and 1 patient who has recovered. 550 tests for the virus have been conducted. News further afield, as coronavirus cases continue to soar across the United States, health professionals are looking at new tools to combat the spread. Now, experts say more testing, rapid results, and sterilization of masks will help. Details from the CNN.
Over 1 million Americans have now been tested.
It's a grim milestone in the fight against the spread of the coronavirus. Illinois-based Abbott Testing plans to roll out 50,000 tests each day starting this week, showing results in less than 15 minutes. Trump administration officials say it's a new weapon in the battle against COVID-19.
Just like tests for flu or strep, where you go to the doctors, you get the test done, you can get an answer within minutes of having this test done.
Nurses and doctors on the front line of the war against the virus are falling victim to it.
We have about 41 people in our hospital who have tested positive for the coronavirus.
Because they say they don't have enough protective gear.
We know how this is transmitted. We know that this is incredibly contagious, and we're seeing it. We're being exposed over and over again.
Companies like this one in Alaska are making face masks and other equipment to feed the need. And now the FDA says it has a plan: sterilization machines.
Each machine can disinfect 120,000 masks per day. It'll be just like a new one. It could go up to about 20 times for each mask. So each mask can go through this process 20 times.
The nation's top infectious diseases expert says ultimately the weapon most needed to defeat the coronavirus may be a vaccine that's already in the works.
We have a vaccine that's on track and multiple other candidates.
Time now for sports. The JFF has heaped praise on the coaches and the players after the Reggae girls achieved the biggest jump on the FIFA World Rankings released last Friday. The girls sit in a historic 50th position in the rankings. Karen Madden reports.
Following their historic World Cup appearance last summer, the national senior women's team suffered a hiccup when they failed to advance to the 2020 Olympic Games, which has since been postponed to next summer due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But that setback did not stop the Reggae girls from advancing to the top 50 teams in the world. JFF President Michael Ricketts was full of praise for the Caribbean's #1 women's team.
We're just delighted at the strides that the girls would have made over the last maybe 2.5 years. At the end of 2017, when this administration got into office, the girls were ranked 119th. And in 2.5 years, we have managed to have moved that rank.
Meanwhile, Ricketts says the matter of outstanding salaries has been settled.
Well, I think last week or the week before, we got pay balance from FIFA, so they have been paid. Girls have been paid up in full. And I would think certainly by now, all the staff members would have been paid.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a wonderful afternoon.